Very good. Here we go. So, welcome everyone to Finding Equanimity Amid Uncertainty. And today I am delighted to be joined by Chopra certified meditation teacher, Julie Hunt. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
Very, very happy to have you on board here. And
Really great to have you there.
everyone, Julie is the founder of bijaaliving.com, which she'll speak to a little bit at the end of the program today. And that's a site dedicated to meditation. And she's also a contributor at aboutmeditation.com. And so, all right, so the whole context for this series is the fact that we're all homebound right now, and we're responding to this global crisis. And in moments like this one, when we are all living in the midst of a global pandemic, I thought it would be good to speak with someone who can help us to focus on the part of us that is untouched by all this chaos and disruption, the part of us that never moves, that never wavers, and the part of us that lives really at the core, at the center of each and every one of us. And that's really why I wanted you to have a chance to spend some time with Julie today, because as a meditation teacher, this is what she does. This is what you do every day. And so we're going to chat really today. We're going to chat about meditation. We're going to talk about why this is such an optimal time to focus on meditation. And then Julie's going to lead us through a guided meditation. And then we'll have some time for Q&A. And how does that sound to you, Julie?
Perfect.
All right, cool. All right, so let me just start with a simple question. Can you speak to why this is such a good and optimal time to focus on meditation?
Yeah. So can I speak to how your introduction, that part of us
Yeah,
is unchanging?
please.
Every cell came alive in my body. And I think from an intellectual standpoint, we think about the fact that we're the activity and we're the mind. I'm this physical body that I carry around. But I know that I'm much more. And I think I knew intellectually at one point, we know mind and body is connected and we know soul, but I think meditation really, really reconnects you to the essence of being. I'm not doing, I'm not feeling, I'm not thinking, I am being. And we move, but we move through all those layers, right? And even when you just said that, it came to life. And I think if you had asked me, or if you'd said that same thing 15 years ago when I wasn't meditating, I don't think I'd have that same like hearty in my being. Like
Yeah.
my cells are starting to come alive, you know. So I think that all of the meditation, and so to give you just a little bit of history, I've been really immersed in the Vedic teachings and yoga for more than 25 years, but I was kind of the person who is doing yoga and teaching Ayurveda, teaching yoga, but couldn't meditate. I just thought I couldn't still my mind. So when I learned to meditate, and I learned with a really simple mantra-based meditation, it was really easy. It really changed my whole life. And so now, if you look at my life 8 to 10 years later, with this practice, I think that this practice has enabled me to be so solid and grounded in my center that I'm truly unshakable. I can see and observe everything, but I don't get swept down the path of fear and uncertainty and anxiety, because certainly it's all there. And I think I'm just as concerned as the next person. I just don't get shaken by it, where 10 years ago I never could have ever done that. So I think
Right.
there's a couple things I'm talking about right now. One is that crisis, meditation, and one is that practice of meditation. And I think, I don't believe in like a crisis, like one time to help you feel better meditation, but right now for sure, that practice is going to release our accumulated stress that's in the body. A regular meditation practice, and it's going to set us up to be able to face the challenges of life in a much more being way, perhaps, that it's not shaking us, that we are in that grounded, light centered space.
Mhm. So, right. So let's talk about that a little bit, because you and I spoke a little bit earlier, and you gave a great example, which we ended up calling the margarita moment, of
It was.
yeah. And like I shared my margarita moment, and it was where you really shared a very human and grounded, pragmatic uh, example of your response to feeling that contraction. And that's obviously something that globally we're all going through right now, as people are looking at financial implications that are dramatic because of the contraction of the economy on so many different levels. People just really uh, ending up having to reckon with pretty baseline survival fears, which of course tied to the financial, but the whole context of this is one of it's an existential threat to the individual. So we're all kind of in the midst of that, and there's a collective momentum. And what we're really talking about is the opposite of that in a lot of ways, or something that transcends that. And yeah, so I thought the example you shared was so well, it was perfect. I wondered if we could speak about that, and if you'd share it a little bit.
Yeah. So it's right when everything started to happen. Um, of course, everything was being touched, but it was still far away, right? It still hadn't, we
Yeah.
looked at SARS, and there was maybe a case or two in the US. So as everything was starting to happen, I had this moment of financial, like it struck me financially that I lost, more than 3/4 of my regular income. I just bought a house in October. I took on a mortgage. I stretched myself out probably much more than I had expected at the time. And I just went into pure contraction. I'd made plans and just kind of said, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I just need some time to get through it. And I sort of started, as I mentioned to you, started taking huge doses of my own medicine. I really tried to channel what would I say to myself, what would I say to someone else, and trying to talk to myself. And so I let myself have that for a couple hours. Really, it was
Right.
real. Um, it, and I really felt it, because I think that pushing things away are also a form of constriction and contraction. So letting those experiences move through us. And then I just decided to go see my dad and have a margarita, and got in the car and drove to see him for an hour.
Yeah.
And it was really just this moment. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I had an amazing night, like much more fun than I think I usually. I mean, I visit him every week. It's very important to me to see my family. I was living on the East Coast for a long time. Now I'm back on the West Coast, and my family's here. And it was just really nachos and margarita night. So I had this, moment of just like letting go. And I came back the next day and said, okay, let me like revisit this. I felt completely different. I didn't have that same sense of contraction,
Yeah.
but the fear and anxiety was still there. Nothing had changed in my external environment.
Mm-hmm.
And as I thought about that, I could feel the anxiety, but I really did it, the exact exercise. I went inside and I said, how am I? And closed my eyes, like, am I okay? Like, is there a reason for me to be afraid and nervous? And when I went really deep,
Mm.
I felt so peaceful. And I've done that for the last few weeks. Is
Mm.
I every time I think to myself, this is crazy.
Yeah.
At the same time, I will ask and check. And when I really access deep down, there is no fear and no uncertainty. It's all out there. And it's, if I can just press the pause button and I can check in. And if there's a real need, I mean, of course, I'm taking action and taking all precautions and doing everything that I possibly can. In no way, shape, or form I taking action that's not taking it seriously. And I think in that, but that's where we get our highest and best information from, to say,
Right.
like, oh, then maybe there is true fear deep down. Okay, so what is that telling me? What needs to change? What needs to happen? What actions do I need to take? So yeah, so I think with the everything that's going on in the world, we are absolutely faced with a lot of information coming at us, and how we process that information is our choice. You know,
Mm,
and also these things are not in our, a lot is not in our control right now, and I think that it's very humbling to all of us. And I think we really are having to come to a space that says, I worked really hard to get here and achieve this and accomplish this and to be this, and those are all the labels, and that's all of our physical exterior, and yet I am not in control.
right. And how would you say, so you, and you kind of just spoke to this, but just to go a little bit further. So it sounds like your meditation practice became a primary reference point in all this, and has been something that you're returning to consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my meditation practice is twice daily. I think that's extraordinarily important for anyone who works with me, because I meditate a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour early evening, because I think that second meditation was very difficult for me to bring into my life. It took me about a year to really get that solidified in my life. I think it's very difficult for a lot of people. And it's extraordinarily important, especially now, because we have so much daily stress. Our bodies, during this night, when we're sleeping, our bodies are returning to a state of homeostasis. And we are reorganizing the body and the healing systems, both from a physical and a psychological level. And it's very powerful. So we're waking up with this fresh state. I actually remember you talking about sometimes you having tea and sitting on the pillow and still even having kind of some of those thoughts, but yet we're in this
Mm,
much more expanded state of healing and recovery in the body. And then we go through 8 hours of our day, 8, 10 hours, and
mm,
we have to do something with that stress because it's going to be
right.
coming at us all day long. And so in a regular meditation practice, you're not only turning off fight or flight and stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, shifting into rest and relaxation, but you're actually releasing accumulated stress. And
Mm,
so you have this, I kind of always see it as this back and forth,
yeah.
and I use a lot of water examples. So if you think of the ocean as, sort of the activity of the ocean being rough, and that's kind of our day. And when you go
Mm-hmm.
down, deeper into the ocean, you have this stillness, and you go into the ocean and you go 100 feet down into that stillness, and you bring that up into your active life, and you keep making this journey back and forth. You take this up into your life. And I think that's that beingness that I carry it with me in my life. And I really believe that that twice daily practice is extraordinarily important right now, even if it's just for a couple minutes of sitting in silence and to really create that habit. And so of course my practice has remained the same. And we also spoke really briefly about the fact that the practice sitting is, this time has taught me more than ever that it's not about the time that I'm seated in meditation, that how many thoughts I have, if it was a good meditation or a bad meditation. I never judge meditation, but certainly now that I can see how it's helping me show up in my life with ease and grace that I absolutely know that I would not have had 10 years ago. My personality runs a little bit anxious sometimes. Knowing how it's in my life, that's why we do this.
Mm,
And so I think that's the difference between kind of that emergency meditation and that foundation meditation of a regular part of your life, and hopefully twice daily. That's my commercial for twice daily
yeah.
meditation.
Well, it reminds me of that, and this has gone around social media a lot, but it's like, okay, meditate an hour a day. Unless you're really pressed for time, then you meditate 2 hours a day. And,
Exactly.
it's that same idea that this is, grounding in that source that we discover and we access and we just soak in during meditation. It just provides, as per the title of this series, equanimity and intelligence, emotional, intellectual, all these different lines of development come into alignment. And at least in my experience, we're more effective, we're more present, you're just, you're at least for me, I'm my better self. I'm my best self.
Absolutely.
And I feel like I'm bringing a lot more to the table when that's the case. Um, but so I'll quickly share my margarita moment,
Yes.
and then maybe we can transition into some of the guided meditation here. But so there's two things. Like one, before I go into that, one thing for me, which has been very valuable during this whole time, because so I've, as you saw earlier, I have a 4-year-old, and she's, you know, bonkers. You know, she's just all over the house all the time, you know, and there's not, if I was a kid, it's a challenging time for kids, right? And there's only so much when I'm working that mom can do, etc. You know, we're trading off, but it's so simple point. It's hard to find time to meditate quietly. And so what I've been doing is focusing on moving meditation. So I'll go on a run, and I'll go to the park, and I've kind of re-engaged my Tai Chi practice. And my goodness, it's so beautiful. And it's been a long time since I've really practiced moving meditation. And there's this intelligence in the body that gets awakened and activated. And then, similar to seated meditation, there's that permeability to just the current of life, where you become transparent to your environment, transparent to sound, transparent to movement. And it's like sometimes I'm sitting there and I literally feel like I'm in a Disney movie, and there's sparkles like coming out of my fingertips as I'm spreading my hands. It's just this, it's so slow, but it's fundamentally just you're with this core of, you're just communing with life in this exquisite way that I more identify with seated practice. So that's been a beautiful bridge for me. That's really been my still point in practice, at least since we've been holed up in this Airbnb. Um, and that, so yeah, so that's for me, really, that's been my practice through this. Uh, and I wanted to share it because as you were talking about your practice, I was just like, oh yeah, it's bringing me right into that space. And, you know, that's what, when you talk about your love of practice, obviously it ignites anyone in the area. That's the beauty of meditation. It is the it's the what do you call it? The transmission is contagious. You feel that heart energy. You feel that stillness just begin to move between us. And that is something we're spreading, obviously, in this time. So my margarita moment was it was about 2.5 weeks now, and I was looking. I made the mistake of looking at like my financials in the stock market had just had like a 12% like you know di- cliff dive, and then my sister, who's a physician, was sending like just graph after graph up via text, and all of this was happening at once. And it was just like suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, and as I said to you, I could feel my nervous system just start to spin up into fight or flight. I just felt the walls coming in, and the voice in my head saying, this is real. You gotta react to this right now, do something. And it was, there was a kind of panic quality to that, evolutionary fight or flight response. And I had for me during that moment, I had to just talk myself down and, relax. And deep breathing was the thing that I find that so powerful. And that kind of flipped things very quickly. But it was a focused, conscious response in the moment. And obviously that's just sitting in the context of all my practice. But it was, like you said, it was a choice. You have a choice in those moments to pretend it's not happening, to push it down, or to give in to fear, or or you can create space for it and use the tools that you've developed. And I think that's so important. And obviously, again, why I wanted you on here today to speak with people, because I just think really there's nothing more important than people learning to take care of themselves right now. And if we can provide tools for that, any tools for that, or just being together in that, that's really what I feel right now is very important.
Yeah. I loved your word communing. I mean, I could feel that, and I think that's what we're doing. We're communing with, we're everything is changing, communing with one another. We need one another. This contact we have here over distance that we get to have now through the beautiful use of technology,
Mm,
and the communing with ourselves, right? The truth. That's again where
absolutely.
we started, that beingness. Communing with our beingness, and I think the only I will teach the only rule in meditation is to notice and come back to your anchor. And so that's when life becomes a meditation, right? Because it's always the noticing. And so
Mm,
that's why the meditation doesn't really matter. So, I mean, the actual experience in it, the time matters.
yeah.
Well, you
Yeah.
can make the mistake of not meditating, I guess. But once you're in meditation, it's the noticing and coming back, and then that translates right out into life. And I think that's every single thing we kind of talked about in that recovery, right? So you go into fight or flight, but how quickly are you going to recover? And it's by the noticing. Okay, the tiger isn't going. I'm not getting eaten by the tiger.
Right.
If the tiger is taking an arm, then I have a reason to.
Yeah.
There's something different. But right now, and as it turns out, as I go fast forward for me, my margarita moment, you know, everything has really worked in a really beautiful way financially for me.
Mm,
And what's happened, I could never have imagined. And of
mm,
course, staying steady in that and not panicking has led me to really beautiful opportunities that I would not have had. And so had I gone down that path, while it was real, it wasn't real. And something
right.
real is going to happen next, and that is going to end, and something else is going to begin. And so that's the impermanence of everything, right? So it's a noticing and observing and knowing that this all is going to have a beginning and an end, except for that true self, our being.
Mm, awesome. I think that's a nice place for us to begin to transition. What do you think?
Yeah, do a little meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'd love to guide us in a meditation, really maybe to connect us to that being, connect us to the heart center place. So if you haven't already, finding a really comfortable seated position. And just maybe noticing what's going on in the body. Just noticing if there's any tension, how you're feeling. So not trying to change anything, just an awareness. If there's anything looping in the mind or any thoughts, make a conscious action to set those aside for just a moment. You might even imagine that there's a shelf next to you. You can just put it on the shelf for a moment. You can come back to it if you want to after. But for now, set everything aside. There's nowhere else you need to be. Beginning to feel the body relax. Noticing the shoulders dropping away from the ears. The hips relaxing into the place that you're sitting. The legs and the feet. Feeling the facial muscles completely relax and let go. There is nothing you need to do in this moment. Beginning to shift out of the doing and into this beautiful space of being. Becoming aware of the breath, the natural inhale and exhale of the breath. Let it flow effortlessly and naturally without forcing it or controlling it. Just noticing it with this lovely curiosity. Noticing the depth, the resonance. Perhaps feeling it in your nose, the temperature. Easily bringing your awareness to your heart center, the center of your chest, and noticing the breath from this place. With your awareness resting here, you might begin to notice a beautiful light of awareness emanating from your heart center. And you might imagine that with that inhale, that light of awareness brightens. And perhaps on the exhale, it expands, moving through the heart and the chest. Illuminating, becoming a little brighter and more expansive with every breath. You have a physical body, and you also may imagine that you have a higher self. And this light of awareness that your awareness is resting in now is within your physical body. You might imagine your awareness drifting up from your heart center to the top of your head. Perhaps at the top of your head, there may be a tube of light. And this tube of light is connecting the physical self with the higher self. Imagine that your awareness drifts up through this tube of light, connecting to this pure source of awareness, pure light and pure love. You notice the pure vibration of this awareness, how infinitely expansive. Allow yourself to completely merge with this source of pure awareness and pure love and pure light. Begin to see your physical body merging into the oneness of your higher self. Where there is no separation. There is only oneness. And in the space of pure awareness and pure light, imagine that you can travel effortlessly back down this tube of light, all the way down to the top of your head. on reconnecting with your physical self. And this pure awareness, this light, fills your entire brain and mind as you reach the physical body. And seeing it move into your eyes, your ears, your mouth, filling every space in your mind. Moving down the throat, illuminating the entire chest and heart, down through the arms, into the fingertips, filling the torso, the hips, the legs, the feet, every organ, every cell of your body is filled with this pure light and pure love of your higher self. You may notice with the inhale that this light and love expands and brightens. And you may notice on the next exhale that this light and love is not just confined to the physical body, but it moves beyond the physical body, past the layers, into the subtle body, the energetic body. You might imagine the next inhale, this light and love becoming brighter, and the exhale expanding. Another foot out from the body, 2 feet, perhaps 3 to 6 feet. Breathing in more light and more love on the inhale, doubling in love. And on the exhale, expanding, filling the entire room. Continue to rest for just a moment, soaking in the pure source of awareness, this pure light and love that is you. Rest in this light bubble of love and pure awareness. As you rest in this light and love, you may have noticed that your awareness drifts away from the present moment, from this beautiful space of expansion and awareness. And invite you to continue to rest in this light and love for just a moment longer. And notice if your attention drifts away for any reason, perhaps to a thought, perhaps a sensation in the body, or maybe an external sound in the environment. I invite you to just take a moment and notice that thought or experience that has taken you away from being in this light and love, from being merged in this space of pure awareness. On your next inhale, bring in more light and love. See that light of awareness brightening in you. On the exhale, expanding. And again, resting in this space. And if you notice anything outside of this perfect, pure space of awareness, simply notice it. Perhaps with love and curiosity, without analyzing it or judging it. And then make a choice to come right back to this space of pure love and pure light, the source of awareness of who you truly are, resting here now. Continue to rest in this light and love for just a moment longer. I'll let you know and I'll guide you out in just a moment. Taking in a deeper inhale. And a longer exhale. Perhaps bring your awareness back to the center of your chest, your heart center, noticing again the source of this light of awareness. Know that this light is always burning within you. It is always there, no matter what is happening around you, what the circumstances, the situation, the facts, the places, the people, the times. That light of awareness is within you, and you can return to this space of pure light and love anytime you desire. All you have to do is reconnect here. Perhaps set an intention for yourself. It allows you to remember this connection to your true self that is pure awareness, pure light, and pure love. knowing that things may no longer be the same because you have a new access point to your higher self. As you begin to deepen the breath, perhaps wiggling the fingers and the toes, maybe doing a scan of the body, noticing if there are any changes in the physical body, in the emotions, or in the mind. Offering a moment of gratitude for yourself for taking the time to reconnect to the source of who you are. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the world. And this is your beingness. This is your true essence. Breathe into that as you begin to slowly and easily opening your eyes. Bring your awareness back into the room. Perhaps seeing the space differently through eyes of light and awareness. Thank you for letting me guide you. I think we can really come back here, so holding this with us for as long as possible. Every time I meditate, I really try to make sure I connect and I take that out. And I think every time I can take it out a second longer and a second longer. So hopefully you and everyone will be able to take this out into their day and come back here.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you for this collective. Again, you mentioned this communing, and when we meditate together, we absolutely change ourselves, our community, and the world. I mean, this is one of the highest and best things we can do, really, to shift everything that's happening to bring us to a space of greater peace and kindness, compassion and love, equanimity in uncertainty.
So I just want to put it out to everyone. Does anyone have any questions, or do you want to share your experience? How was that for you? You can raise your hand through the little on-screen icon. No pressure, you don't have to either. All right, Bernadette, I'm gonna unmute. Hi, Bernadette. It looks like you're muted. I'm gonna unmute you. Hi.
Hi. No, it was more not a question, but just to thank you so much for this this time with you. I'm new at meditating, and I really feel so lovely right now. I was able to fully engage, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bernadette. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for self-care and prioritizing yourself. Really is the highest thing we can do. Thank you.
Bernadette, if you're still there, I'm curious, where are you calling from, or where are you tuning in from?
I'm just west of Toronto, Ontario.
Canada. Nice.
Yeah. Whereabouts are you?
Julie?
I'm in San Diego, in Southern California.
Oh, nice. Good. Yeah, it's been, I've been on the aboutmeditation.com website a number of times. So when I saw the opportunity, I was very happy to take part. So thank you. I can't thank you enough for what you're doing.
Thank you. Before we wrap up, does anyone else want to chime in, share an experience, or just say boo?
Say om.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Perfect.
All right, I just want to chime in and say thank you, Morgan, for About Meditation and what you guys are doing in the world. Thank you. I know your hearts and you are pure service. So thank you for bringing us all together.
It's my pleasure. And this was just a pure response to the moment and the situation. And, I know you feel the same impulse and compulsion to, serve right now. Julie, so as we start to wrap up, can you share with people a little bit about if someone wanted to follow up with you and learn a little bit more about what you're doing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I am in the middle of also really sharing meditations on a daily basis with people. So the best way to reconnect to some of these practices is to come back here, right, and revisit this meditation because it's being recorded. So you can come back here. And I have meditations daily that I'm putting out on YouTube. So tomorrow's happens to be a mindful movement, a little walking meditation.
Nice.
So, yeah, it was kind of fun to hear you say that. So you can go to YouTube, bijaliving.com. You can also go to Bija Living, B-I-J-A living.com, and it will say Meditation Collective. If you put your email address in there, I'll send you daily meditations, and there's videos. You'll come right back here, and we'll sit together, and we'll meditate, really, and just expanding that. And if I can be, of course, of service in any way possible, please let me know. But there's lots of different meditations, and as Bernadette said, maybe she's new to meditation, lots of different styles, so we can kind of find our groove if this is new to us, but we really do want to make this a regular part of our self-care and practice. So I think that's the beauty of About Meditation, is there's so many offerings in different styles, and I'm hoping to do the same thing, just to really these 31-day collective, and they're really focused on helping us de-stress, be in the moment, and live a life with less fear and certainty, and really taking care of ourselves so we can stay healthy and grounded and come out the other side of this really changed and open, aware, and healthy, and have our families hopefully more connected and safe. So and then you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and all that. Everything's Bija Living. So Julie Hunt.
Yeah, and that Bija is B-I-J-A living.com, right? Gotcha.
Perfect.
And everyone, it is already linked up in the show notes for this page over on aboutmeditation.com. But tonight's, as Julie said, I will make a YouTube video of this afterwards and post that on the site, so you'll have access to this tomorrow as well. And then, through that page, you can find Julie very easily and sign up for her meditation collective, which I really encourage you to do. If you were moved by this, please do that. And great. So I think that's it for tonight. And thank you, everyone. Julie, I can't thank you enough. Really beautiful to spend this time with you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Lots of love, everybody. Take care.
Blessings.
Bye.